have to edit that out. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm not gonna do
That
that.
might be a little. I don't know. We can, doesn't bother me.
That's
Leave it in.
Maybe we'll go beep.
Do that.
now you've threatened about 400 million plus one person on this.
All right, welcome to the podcast. Proud to have you guys back with us. Once again, bringing you the very latest in the inside scoop with respect to starting strength and our opinions and new products that are available and how they came to be. We're here with our app developer, Mick Solomon. Mick, thanks for being with us.
Hey, Reb, no worries. Great to be here.
You're on the West Coast right now of the United States.
Yeah, I'm in Silicon Valley at the moment, visiting my brother and his family.
But you are from Australia.
Yeah, I was born in
Listen for
Melbourne.
just a second and everybody can tell.
Yeah, it's. I'm actually putting on my international accent at the moment because if I speak in my Australian slang, Nick's going to need to put some subtitles on there
Yeah,
later
we'd
on.
have to subtitle the thing, and we'd have to ask you for the subtitles, thus giving you even more work than you're already doing. So where do you normally live, and tell us about what's going on there?
So I was born in Melbourne, lived most of my life there. I travelled and lived in Korea and Malaysia and did various software startups in those countries. Now currently living on the Gold Coast in Australia, which is about halfway up the East Coast. It's kind of a surfing city. And I do a bit of travelling around as well because my company, Shabu, is just a one-man company. So I pretty much can work anywhere with a relatively decent internet connection. So, I'd like to do a bit of travelling and kind of seeing the world and doing my work as well.
Well, what does Shabu normally do?
Well, the only thing we're doing at the moment is the Starting Strength app. And the company was started to do the Starting Strength app. And the thought behind it when I started it was, I'm into strength training. It's, one of my passions in life. And I'd been doing games for a long time, probably about 15 years before that, but, lost a lot of passion for that. So when I started Shabu, the thought was I want to do health and fitness products. I want to do things that actually help people become more useful. So, and I think that's, when I got in touch with you at the start of last year? I think it was the start of last year.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Right now, the app's doing very well. We've sold, 10,000 copies of that? Is that considered good, or what's the...
It's okay. I think it's really stable, which is great because a lot of the times people release apps and they come out and they do well in the first week or two and then they just tail off into nothing. But Starting Strength, it's it's stable numbers. We do probably 30 to 50 units a day, and we're not really doing a whole lot of marketing at the moment. I think besides the odd tweet now and again, but it seems that the name Starting Strength is enough that we get a lot of organic searches, and I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. It's it's generating a good income, and it means we can keep on working on the app and do more updates and make it better.
Well, that mirrors the sales history of the book. We introduced the book in 2005, and I believe that this is still true. Every month since its release, in I believe November of it was June of '05. We finally got through with that and put the first edition on sale. Book sales have gone up every month, to some degree, every month, and the thing continues to sell. We are in excess of 400,000 copies of the flagship title, Starting Strength Basic Barbell Training, at this point, in all formats. If you throw in all of the other titles, Practical Programming, and the other two side titles, Strong Enough and Mean Old Mr. Gravity, we've sold in excess of 550,000 copies. And that's pretty good numbers for an independent publisher that's not ever sold one single copy in a bookstore. So
Yeah, that's great.
I think that the app is getting pulled along behind the book, and if the book sales are any indication, I don't see it slowing down. And you keep adding improvements to the app and making it better, and we'll talk some more about that in a minute. So, Mick, how did you get started with lifting weights? What made you interested in doing Shabu as a fitness app type company?
Yeah, I mean, it probably started about 6 years ago when I was living in Korea, and I'd been working in games for 15 years, and I don't know if you know much about game developers, but they're they're what you imagine. They're typically overweight, and they don't like exercising and going outside, and that was pretty much me.
I have a confession. I've never played a game.
Well, not even Tetris.
I've never played. I don't even know what that is. I'm a marvelously out of touch. Well, I'm a 60-year-old white guy from Texas, self-employed. I haven't sat down long enough to play a game in a long time when I wasn't doing something, working on a book or something to that effect. But it's worse than that. Do you know that I've never played Pong? Really?
Your generation as well.
I haven't. Listen, here's another. You know how many times I've played a pinball machine in my life? It's just one of these things. I just don't have any either desire or aptitude for the pursuit of. But I do understand. I'm in touch well enough to understand that other people like games, and I've heard of them, and I know of their existence, and I know of something called. Maybe you can explain this real quick. What is Gamergate? The conservative media talks about Gamergate all the time. Were you involved in that? You weren't at the center of that, were you?
No, thankfully not. I don't know a lot about it. I mean, I really have pulled myself out of games for a couple of years now. I have very little to do with it. I don't play games anymore either. So I heard of bits and pieces about it. I think it was something to do with a journalist, and there was some. I think someone in games was sleeping with a journalist. I don't know. It was something along those lines. And,
oh God.
And I can tell you this right now. I mean, I don't know the exact story, but gamers are probably the worst. You think it's bad on, sometimes quite bad on your forums, people asking you stupid questions and making stupid comments.
Oh,
in
God.
games, it is a million times worse. And actually, the one reason
how is that possible? That really defies belief.
You're dealing with 15-year-old antisocial kids most of the time. So, so I think that I've been through a few years of this, dealing with gamers and actually people inside the industry as well. I mean, there's a lot of great people in the industry, but there's also a lot of really douchey folks there. But I made a game, back in 2011, and I spent probably 6 months of my life on this game, put a lot of effort into it. It did pretty well, and I got one review on the App Store, and the guy said, This is a piece of junk. It's not worth 99 cents. That was a review left. And that time I thought, that's it. I'm done. I am done with this.
It's not worth 99 cents.
Yeah. So that was the end of me in games. That was kind of when I still do bits and pieces in games now. But it's not worth it.
Well,
so,
now you're lifting weights, right? How'd you start?
Yeah. So
weights?
Anyway, I was basically skinny fat, typical nerd, and I was really sick as well. I think I went to a hospital in Korea just because I was falling asleep after lunch. I'd kind of go through this I'd eat lunch and I basically just couldn't stay awake, and I'd have to have a sleep for about an hour, and I just wasn't healthy basically. And
something's wrong with it.
It's okay if you eat like half.
There's hospitalization provided for.
And. Yes, but I had a bunch of other stuff going on as well, and I went to see a doctor in Korea, and he did a whole lot of blood tests, and they came back and he said, "Look, you're basically a type 2 diabetic," and I said to him, "Oh, well, so what can I do about it?" And he's like, "I don't know." He's just like, "Try
not
harder."
my job.
He said
I tell you what you've got. I tell you how to deal with it. Yeah.
So at that point, I kind of said, "All right, well, screw this. I'm just kind of sick of dealing with doctors." And I kind of went online to a game development forum, and there's a whole bunch of guys there who are really into health and fitness. And one of the guys there suggested to get on the paleo diet, which I did. And this was before paleo was kind of turned into what it is now. It's it's pretty bastardized now. People eating walnut cakes and stuff. This is when it was just meat, fruit, and vegetables. So I did that for about 6 months, and I lost a ton of weight, and I felt a lot better, and a lot of the problems I had. And then at that point, I was kind of this really skinny kind of vegetarian looking guy, and I thought I should try putting on some muscle now. So I mean, my history of strength training, I mean, this started probably 5 years ago. And, I think there's a chapter in the book that says all the things you're going to do wrong. I think that's pretty much been the story of my lifting progression. So I started with strong lifts, and, I got a ton of bad advice on their forums, and, and I kind of fucked around. I went and did, Texas method before I was ready for it. And I lifted,
standard deal,
Yeah. I was lifting with terrible. Yeah,
people just love complexity. When simplicity will work, 95% of the time, they'll get complicated because it's just more fun. All you got to do is 5 different exercises. You come in and add a little weight every time to every one of the exercises until that doesn't work anymore. And what do people do? Matveyev, undulating periodization for no apparent reason. I don't know. I don't understand.
Well,
It's the human condition. We'd much rather it be more complicated because if it's complicated, then there's an excuse for why it didn't work for you. So anyway, that's kind of that's what we've observed. Everybody, good God, how long we've been operating this board now? For 9 years, and that's what the vast majority of the posts are best responded to by saying, "Did you do the program? The program, the program, the easy, simple one, like you've got on the app, right?" So tell us about the app. How is the app developed? What goes into developing an app? I think lots and lots of people have lots and lots of apps on their devices, but they don't have the slightest idea what goes into the production of an app. Now, I understand. Oh, by the way, my friend Eva Twodarkins out in California, out in Santa Cruz, is probably she works for and is intimately connected to Philippe Kahn, who I'm sure you're familiar with.
No.
He's the guy that invented the camera phone.
Oh, okay.
He's an app developer.
At Nokia?
He's a quadrillionaire.
Right, okay.
And so apps and starting strength have been connected for a long time. I'm surprised it took us so long to bring you on board. But how is an app developed?
With a lot of pain and stress, and there's a funny caption online where there's a photo of a guy with his hands up in the air going, I don't know how this works. My code works, but I don't know how it works. And then there's another caption saying, this is broken. I don't know how it's broken. It's the exact same caption. That's pretty much sums up app development. It's just, you choose a particular kind of tools and you code it to the best you can, and things break and you get extremely frustrated, and with a lot of patience and hard work, you kind of fix it all up and you take the next step. So, you have basically built this app from the ground up. Yeah, right. So, I mean, I guess, if there's people who are interested in exactly how I build it, I use some tools called Titanium Appcelerator, which is a cross-platform development environment. So that means I code in a programming language called JavaScript, and then we can deploy that to both iOS and Android. So it means we don't have to write 2 separate sets of code base, which is quite handy. So
saves a bunch of time.
Yeah, exactly. Saves a bunch of time, and it's pretty good. JavaScript's it's probably one of the easier and more flexible programming languages. So I started learning programming about probably 18 months ago, and I wrote this kind of body recomposition app called Shredded, which was I think the app idea itself was pretty solid, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I managed to get it out on the store, but then I tried to update it, and the code was just such a mess. It was totally impossible to update.
Non-updatable.
I just had to throw it out. And so, I spent a few more months just kind of, actually learning how to do things better. And then I put together just a demo of the Strength Standard website. I don't know if you guys own that, but the Strength Standards website.
Well, I think you're talking about the tables that were developed at this company many years ago that have been both useful in some cases and, in contrast, the source of many confused people who don't seem to understand the difference between. It was our fault. I should never have done those things, but because of the nature of the confusion, people confuse a level of training advancement, which we define very, very carefully in our literature, as what is a novice. And it has to do with how quickly you recover from stress and how precisely you recover from stress. They confuse that with entry-level lifting, numbers, weight on the bar, and they're two completely separate things, and it's just too damn complicated to explain this to people. And I should have known the week we developed that table, I should have seen the problems, and we should never have published it. But nonetheless, it got published, it got out, the horse left the barn, Pandora's box, so to speak, and at this point, all we can do is just minimize the damage. We went back through and retitled all the categories, and that still doesn't clear things up. So to all of you who don't understand, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I apologize. I should have nipped that in the bud at the time. But nonetheless, I guess it's been done. You did an app on that?
No, I mean, I just made a demo, and I think that's
Right.
that app was what I actually sent to you when I emailed you the first time. Yeah,
right.
I sent you the screenshots of it had the graphs, the
that.
bar graphs showing, intermediate and advanced, and that's kind of how we, that's how we sort of got to.
And probably my first conversation with you was
get rid of it.
No, don't do that anymore. So,
Actually,
things have progressed nicely since then. So now we're in a full blown app situation. I've probably got 4 apps on my phone, maybe, but I'm not normal. I know.
Tinder?
How many apps are in existence? Do you know?
Oh, it's.
Are there
I mean, it's
millions?
got to be hundreds of millions, surely. I don't know. I mean, it's. There's literally billions of downloads every year. I mean, I don't have that many on my phone, but if you go on one of those freelancing websites, you'll see just literally thousands of developers in India and Bangladesh, and who are just, you can pay them $5 an hour and they'll develop whatever you want. So it's a big industry. There's a lot of people doing stuff in it, and so one of the advantages for me of working with Starting Strength is that it's a popular and respected brand. So. That's one of the reasons I wanted to work with Starting Strength, is just because it has
try
that
to keep
name.
it that way.
Yeah, exactly, and that's another good thing as well. So, I'm being pretty careful about how I've developed the app, and I generally email you guys with every new thing that I'm doing, and things have been pretty good so far. There's been feedback, but I don't think you've had to ever come back and say, no, we're not doing that. Except for the Strength Standard graph. That was
that was the only bad idea you ever had, really.
And that was the only thing I sent you at the start.
Well, what are you gonna do with the app in the future? I know that you're always working on these things. I get 2 or 3 emails from you a week, and I'm generally just copied on it. Nick and Steph are the brains of the outfit. I just, talk on the microphone here. So, what's in store? What have you got planned for the app?
So there's a big update coming soon, which is a little bit late. So if anyone's been waiting for that update to fix a few things, sorry about that. But there is a reason I've been integrating a lot of the cloud sync stuff over the last month. So that means you'll be able to create an account, back up, and restore your training log data across multiple devices. So if you bought a new phone and you don't want to have to re-enter all of your training logs in, you can do that now. It'll just restore it all automatically. You can also email yourself a CSV version of your training log data if you want to import it into a spreadsheet. We've also got customizable weight plates. So now you can choose if you've only got, say, 55s and 35s, you can now choose that and it will reflect on the warm-up calculator and the work set calculator. What else has got in the next version? I've got a brand new training videos. So instead of it being a YouTube video, it's now a kind of a flipbook style where you can sort of click through each frame of each exercise. So Nick took a bunch of videos last month, and so we've cut them together, and which is quite nice. Also a lot faster as well, and doesn't require an internet connection. So that's pretty cool. And new progress graphs as well. We've got a whole bunch of progress graphs, which I should probably show you before we ship it, because I don't know if you guys will be happy with it.
Well, as long as it doesn't include the strength standards table, probably okay.
What we've got in there now is we've still got that line graph, which sort of shows you every single workout over time. We've also added some time filters as well. So if a user's been doing it for 6 months, it's kind of been hard to see everything. So we added some time filters so you can see only what you've done in the last 30 days or the last 14 days plus. Plus, we've also got some bar graphs which show, from start to now. It just shows you the difference. Say, you started squatting at 20 kilos, now you're at 140. You'll see on a bar graph now, which kind of looks nice. So
yeah.
So
the presentations come along. The thing has not been static since it was first released. You've been working on this thing constantly.
Yep.
So there's a lot of value there for $4.99. What are we going to do with the? I know there's some discussion about changing the sales structure of the thing. Is that still under consideration?
Yeah, I think we're still talking about it. The next plan really is just to make the app free and then lock out some of the premium features. And for the existing users who already bought the app, they'll obviously always have the pro version.
The version
unlocked,
they bought.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they'll always get all the upgrades for free. So.
Well, Mick, thanks for being with us, man. Any chance of you making it to Texas on this trip?
I was thinking about coming down actually. So I'll touch base
with you guys. Get on the plane, man. We'll come down and pick you up.
Is there actually an airport in Wichita Falls?
Well, yeah, but it only works, sometimes. It's not always working. It's easier to just drive to Dallas-Fort Worth than to have to wonder if the airport's working today. So we will, fly to DFW. It's an hour and 45 minutes with the highway upgrades and my speedy little car. And I'll buzz down and pick you up, man.
Oh, cool. Yeah, sounds good. I'll bring the beer.
Absolutely. Because only Australians have good beer.
Well, Foster's is our joke on the world. I hope you know that.
Right. I do.
Okay, I'm glad you know that, because that's you can't even buy it in Australia. It's that bad.
Yeah, it's the Coors of Australia.
See, I know that beer. We have that in Australia.
Oh, God. The cross-pollination here has definitely been harmful, isn't it? Not just rabbits and cane toads. Okay, man. Well, thanks for being with us, Mick.
No, it's great to be here.
Enjoying the app. Hope things continue to go well.
For sure. Thanks a lot, mate.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining us on the podcast. We'll see you next time.